So I want to discuss what's going on with Saudi Arabia and what should be going on with Saudi Arabia. Joining me now is Bill Browder. He's the head of the Global Magnitsky Justice Campaign. He is the reason the Magnitsky Act exists, because Sergei Magnitsky was this man's lawyer. The Magnitsky Act is a law that's meant to punish human rights abuses. Bill is also the CEO of Hermitage Capital Management. He's the author of Freezing Order, a true story of Russian money laundering, murder, and surviving Vladimir Putin's wrath. Bill, good morning to you. Thank you for being with us. I noticed when this happened, you tweeted out, responding to the MBS immunity decision, very ugly and dangerous decision. Now, obviously, you're very close to this. You're probably one of the world's most prominent spokespeople on issues of human rights. I assume you're saying MBS and Saudi Arabia are human rights abusers. Why is the U.S. seemingly okay with this?
Yeah, so as you said, you have a guy here who has murdered a critic in a foreign country, chopped up his body, and the U.S. has evidence of this, and we've given him a free pass. And this is very dangerous because what it does is it says to him and to other dictators and autocrats around the world, if you're important to us for other reason, we're just going to give you a free pass. And by the way, this is exactly what we did with Vladimir Putin for 22 years, which gave him the green light, effectively, to invade Ukraine. If you do this kind of stuff for dictators, for murderous dictators, they do more bad stuff. And so it's not just a bad thing for justice for Jamal Khashoggi. It's a bad thing for justice all around to give this guy the green light to say, no problem. Because you're head of state, you can go around doing these horrific, terrible things, and there will be no consequences.
So when you say that what we say to these leaders is that if you're important for another reason, do you mean another strategic reason, or that you're the head of state? Because it seems weird to give heads of state blanket immunity for doing bad things just because they're heads of state. There can be good heads of state and bad heads of state. Why should the fact that Mohammed bin Salman, the fact that he's the prime minister of Saudi Arabia, make him more or less immune than anyone else against charges of human rights violations?
There should be no reason. He's a you know, by the definitions of the U.S. government, he's a murderer, and as a murderer, he should you know, that disqualifies him from any kind of immunity. He should face the consequences. Now, as you mentioned, one of the reasons why the U.S. has been going treading lightly with this guy is because of the war in Russia, the oil price being high and wanting more oil. But as you also mentioned, this guy has given the middle finger to us and the rest of the world by cutting the supply of oil and pushing up the price of oil. And so, you know, there's no other reason that I can think of why we should be giving him a free pass. I mean, he's a murderer. It's clear. It's been well established. This idea that because he's in government, that doesn't mean.
Bill, we're about 2 weeks away from it being 10 years since the Magnitsky Act was started. It obviously came into place at different times in different countries. How would you evaluate its success as a tool for punishing human rights abusers?
Well, it's been an amazing tool in the sense that it has scared dictators all over the world. There's been more than 500 people and companies sanctioned under the Magnitsky Act, their assets frozen, visas canceled. And it breathes the fear of God into them and everyone around them. And by the way, it was intended to be used against the Saudis, against MBS, in the murder of Jamal Khashoggi. And there's a provision that allows senior senators to formally request the government to sanction these people. The two senior senators in the Senate Foreign Relations Committee asked, this was back in the Trump administration, for MBS to be sanctioned. And there was dead silence. They basically broke the law and didn't respond. And so this is the best example of somebody who should be sanctioned. And by the way, this whole idea of sovereign immunity, it might apply to civil cases in U.S. court, but it absolutely doesn't apply in any way to the Magnitsky Act. The U.S. can and should sanction MBS under the Magnitsky Act for what he's done in this terrible murder.
This is an interesting point you make. In other words, this is court protection. U.S. courts, somebody can't sue MBS in U.S. courts for what he's done because he's the head of state. But the Magnitsky Act does not operate within that system.
Not at all. It's totally within their judgment. There's no restrictions. There's no hands tied behind their back. There's no formalistic stuff that they turn to. They could easily sanction him under the Magnitsky Act. And by the way, if they did, it would tie him up in knots. He has assets all over the world. All of a sudden, he wouldn't have access to his foreign bank accounts. He couldn't visit his yachts and so on and so forth. This is a very powerful tool, which should be used. And he was desperately scared that he's on him, that he had the Trump administration when this was all being considered. This could easily be resurfaced and used on Mohammed bin Salman, and I think it should be.
On April 10th of this year, Bill, as you recall, I was in Lviv, Ukraine, and I interviewed Vladimir Kara-Murza, who had just returned to Russia. And I said to him at the end of that interview that, Vladimir, I'm scared for you. He'd gone back from the United States to Russia. He said, this is where I need to be. And the very next day, he was obviously in violation of the law, talking about a war that you're not allowed to call a war in Russia, and he was arrested the next day. You've tweeted out, just a reminder to everyone, that all these months later, Vladimir remains in prison in Russia.
Yeah, Vladimir is in Russia. He's now facing 24 years in prison for quote treason, for basically calling the war a war and speaking about human rights in Russia. Vladimir Kara-Murza is a victim, and he should be absolutely released. And by the way, the Canadian government has recently sanctioned the people responsible for putting him in jail under the Canadian Magnitsky Act. I'm waiting for the U.S. to do the same thing.
Bill, thanks for joining us this morning. I appreciate it always. Bill Browder is the head of Global Magnitsky Justice Campaign. He's the CEO of Hermitage Capital Management. He's the author of A Freezing Order, a true story of Russian money laundering, murder, and surviving Vladimir Putin's wrath. He's also the author of the bestseller Red Notice.